I wasn't anticipating like things changing a lot while I was, on this OPFOR mission, but we went into a wadi. So again, we may have been breaking range speed, and then all of a sudden the tank went into a ditch.
Yeah.
Now, the second the tank went into the ditch, everything came to a stop. I mean, we went down, right? The whole tank went.
Yeah.
At the moment that the tank stopped, I was leaning up over my hatch, and I was grabbing the ammo can from the tank commander's 50 cal that he had just emptied. So what I had done was I grabbed the new can, loaded in the ammo, closed the feed tray, and I was grabbing the old can, and I was dropping down back into the hatch to put the empty can where the empty can goes, right? Mm-hmm. And as we hit the wadi, the second we hit the wadi, I had just brought my face level with the hatch, the lip of the hatch.
Yeah.
So imagine you have a 60, 70 ton tank coming to a full and abrupt stop.
Yeah.
So my head very violently went like that.
Yeah.
Right into the hatch. I said earlier, I've always believed everything happens for a reason, right? Like you've had near-death experiences. Mm-hmm. I have in different ways.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't in a war zone, thank God. I firmly believe that if I wasn't wearing goggles, so I had the goggles on. The goggles met the hatch straight on. I still have them in my garage. They've still got blood on them.
Yeah.
I'd either be dead, severely paralyzed, severely deformed. My nose is a little bit crooked as a result. You probably can't tell. Yeah. But they did at the hospital. They were like, yeah, it looks like his nose might be a little bit moved. Oh, what? Right?
Yeah.
So I hit this thing, full speed, full stop. The only reason I was wearing the goggles was because the day before, my gunner was like, hey, you're probably getting sick and tired of having that sand get in your eyes, aren't you? Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah. He's like, you want my goggles? Just take them for the rest of the time we're here. The day before, I was given the goggles. And the day after, they likely saved my life. Mm-hmm. At least major brain damage or deformity, right? Like, so I remember... I just remember everything going black.
Yeah.
And I woke up in like a stoop inside the hole. So I was coming down, I hit my head, and then I obviously fell into some fashion. And when I came to, my face hurt so bad. My first thought in my brain was, all of your teeth are gone. Just don't scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I took my eyes were closed. I didn't know where I was, what was happening. I just knew that my face hurt and my teeth were gone.
Yeah.
So I mentally prepared to wipe my tongue across missing teeth.
Yeah.
And the relief that I had when I could feel my teeth.
Yeah.
The best feeling ever.
Yeah.
Right. So I opened my eyes and I got blood everywhere. I'm covered in it. It's all over the turret, whatever. I don't think my tank commander saw any of it. I don't think he realized what was going on. Mm-hmm. He just looked down and he saw me bleeding and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. Like my first instinct was like thumbs up because I was alert.
Yeah.
That was a win.
Yeah.
And I had my teeth. I thought I was fine.
Yeah.
Right. Are you okay to keep fighting? Whatever. Like I didn't know where I was, but I didn't want to let the crew down.
Yeah.
We were on mission and we were engaging an enemy.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest tanking stuff that I had ever done.
Yeah.
Long story short, when they index it, which means stop, right? I mean, everything's done. Okay. The exercise is over. I remember him calling up, hey, real life casualty, no shit, real life casualty, get somebody here, whatever. And people came on top of the tank and literally like pulled me out because I was wasn't right. Got me out of the tank, carried me over to some vehicle. got blood all over me. They put me in the AC. Long story short, they put me in a striker with some captain. And a striker's, this was their, I think they call it a Casevac vehicle, right?
Yeah, yep.
Is that what it is? Or medevac?
Well,
Casevac's a civilian vehicle.
Yeah,
Maybe medevac is a military vehicle.
Yeah, either way, though. I mean, like, it's not...
They're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah. It's just that striker was a medevac.
Yeah, so they put me in a striker, and I remember this captain just cussing me out. I have blood all over my face. I'm tired. Just want to sleep. Like, I was exhausted. He's cussing me out. Don't you dare fall asleep. I just remember him saying, and I didn't realize at the time, but they were worried that I was concussed and I was going to fall asleep.
Yep.
Which
you don't want to do.
Apparently isn't a good thing.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So he kept me awake, right? Because I'm an E4 and I've got a captain swearing at me. The only time I ever want to talk to a captain or see a captain is if I'm up there to get like promoted or an award or something, right? Like you don't want to talk to officers when you're an E4 particularly. So they bring me into a tent. And this is all active duty, right? Like they were prepared for real life casualties in the event, just in case. I failed a concussion test, apparently miserably, to the point where they didn't trust the result. And so they sent me to another tent somewhere else where I failed again miserably.
Yeah.
And they made the determination to bring me to an actual ER facility. At the time, I don't think they treated TBIs or brain injuries as seriously as they do now.
Yeah,
keep in mind, this was back in 2016, maybe 17. The Army medics insisted on being in the room with me when they met with the doctor who was taking care of the ER that day, and they're like, "Hey, this soldier failed 2 concussion tests." And for whatever reason, the doctor felt like I hadn't blacked out for long enough to put me through a protocol of TBI or concussion. And so they didn't. And I remember the Army medics, like, if their jaw could have been on the floor, it would have been. Like, they were frustrated. They couldn't believe it. So they put me on light duty for 2 or 3 days. And I remember on day 2, I didn't realize at the time how like significant this event was. Put me on light duty for a couple of days, which really sucked because I got to clean everybody's weapons.
Yeah, that's what they do. They make you do some stupid shit. Yeah.
But I remember, discovering that like my teeth were jagged. A couple of them were like really sharp. And when everybody came in for the day, I said, "Hey, Sergeant, just want to let you know, like, I think my teeth are chipped."
Yeah.
And I remember he was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" Like they started just swearing because now they're like, "All right, now we have to really get this documented."
Yeah.
Like, okay, now we gotta. Yeah. And I'm sure they had already started the line of duty, the LOD paperwork, but now they had to add dental into it. Like it was just like, oh my, how badly did we screw this guy up? Not only did he like failed 2 concussion tests and have to go to the ER, but now his teeth are chipped, right? So like when I eventually got back into a civilian dentist they took a grinder down and buffed him out a little bit, right? Yeah. And to this day, I can still feel those teeth that I can feel that they're a little bit different. But fast forward to the last year and a half since I came back from a deployment, and I'm describing things to a VA doc, and the doctor's like, "Hey, out of curiosity, have you ever had a TBI?" Now keep in mind, like when we got home from that mission, like I went to the dentist, got my teeth checked out, and they said, "Oh, by the way, not only are your teeth chipped, but you've got cracked enamel across the entire top of your teeth. Like if your teeth someday die, it's because those cracks have gotten worse."
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, you know what, whatever. I'm alive. I got my teeth. I don't care. But fast forward, the last few months, a VA doctor's talking to me, and he's like, "Have you ever suffered a major?" And I was talking to him about, symptoms and just things in my life that have changed, or personality differences, or he's like, "Have you ever had a TBI before?" And at first I didn't remember it. I was like, "No, of course not." And he goes, "Are you sure?" Obviously this guy read my file.
Yeah.
And I said, "Actually, come to think of it, I had an incident once when I was on a tank." He goes, "All right, well, I encourage you to go in and get that checked." And so, you know, you have this tank accident that leads you into getting checked for like this TBI through the VA years apart, but it has an impact, right? Like these training exercises, these training environments, right? So like the point of the story is like, yeah, 10% of tanking is just the best job in the world, but there's this extra 90%, which is maintenance. And then it's physical toll, right? And then it's, do you even notice what that toll looks like? Did you think you were fine and maybe you're not, right? I mean, I had one of my tank commanders lost part of his thumb because he got caught in the ammo door, and it's a hydraulic door, and it,
oh yeah,
you know, there goes his thumb.
Yeah.
Right before his wedding. So he's in wedding photos with his thumb. And this is, you know, like this isn't like National Guard stuff. This is like tanking stuff. They're unforgiving and they will hurt you.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
So, I had decided at some point tanking was just kind of out of my system. Mm-hmm. Right. And it wasn't in me anymore the way it was other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I put my tanking days behind and found something else.